If you're thinking about moving to Portugal in 2026, this list could save you from making a very expensive mistake. Because the Portugal market in 2026 is not the Portugal market of 2022. Prices have changed, demand has changed, bureaucracy is still very real, and depending on where you choose, you could end up with a beautiful lifestyle or a very expensive mistake. A lot of people get this wrong because they choose a location based on fantasy instead of function. They fall in love with a postcard, but ignore the healthcare access, rental pressure, local infrastructure, transport, taxes, or the real day-to-day cost of living. This video is for people who want to move strategically.
I've lived in Portugal for over 5 years, and I've seen the hype come and go.
At Remote Life Portugal, my goal is simple. Give you the honest version, the good, the frustrating, and the genuinely smart opportunities. By the end of this video, you'll know which of these 5 places makes the most sense for your budget, your lifestyle, and your long-term goals. And make sure you stay until number 4, because it may be the biggest hidden opportunity in Portugal right now. We start with the capital, but with a 2026 caveat. Lisbon remains the #1 destination for those who need international connectivity and global careers. However, the historic center has become prohibitive for the average person. In 2026, the focus of investment and urban life has shifted toward the South Bank, Margem Sul, and emerging districts like Alcântara. Lisbon is for those with significant capital. A mid-range property in the capital now easily exceeds 600,000 euros. The return on investment for long-term rentals has stabilized at around 4 to 5%, which is solid but not spectacular. The 2026 reality. With the new airport finally making progress and the expansion of the metro lines, areas like Setúbal and Montijo have ceased to be mere suburbs and have become strategic choices for those working in the city. Pros: best private healthcare in the country, elite fiber optic networks, and an unbeatable cultural life. Cons: noise, pollution, and a municipal bureaucracy that can take years to approve a simple renovation. Who it's for: institutional investors and high-earning professionals who refuse to compromise on cosmopolitan living. Northern Portugal in 2026 is where the country's soul meets modern technology. Porto remains the perfect counterpoint to Lisbon, but Braga is where we are seeing the most significant young population growth. In 2026, Braga is arguably the most family-friendly city in Portugal. With a strong university and an expanding tech hub, it attracts many Americans working in IT. Porto has a more dynamic rental market than Lisbon in terms of local demand. Also, there is the quality of life, because the cost of living in the north is about 15% lower than in the capital, but be warned, the climate is rainy and cold. And here is a realist warning: if you don't like humidity, Porto in the winter will test your patience. Houses here suffer significantly from mold, and in 2026, with current energy costs, heating these old stone houses is an expense that must be in your budget. Before you decide between the north and the south, you need to know that the paperwork varies from one registry office to another. We've created a free relocation checklist, updated for 2026, that includes the contacts and the order of documents for these specific regions. Link in the description. Now let's talk about the Algarve, everyone's dream destination. Forget the loud, tourist-heavy Albufeira. In 2026, retirees are choosing the eastern Algarve, Tavira and Olhão, or the central Algarve. The Algarve still has the highest concentration of foreigners, about 18% of the population. This means in 2026, it is almost impossible to live here without speaking English. This facilitates initial integration, but it can make immersion into real Portuguese culture much harder. But we have to mention the problems. Healthcare, for example, is the critical point. While there are excellent private hospitals, HPA, the public system in the Algarve remains under immense pressure in 2026. If you have complex health conditions, the Algarve requires a top-tier private health insurance plan. If you need travel or health insurance for Portugal or your next move abroad, I've got a reliable solution that covers Portugal and 180+ countries. Link in the description. About costs, a couple can live comfortably on 3,000 euros to 4,000 euros a month, including a villa with a pool in more inland areas. Also, Tavira is the crown jewel for those seeking peace, fresh fish, and an expat community that values silence over parties. The Silver Coast is the region for those who want the best of both worlds. Cities like Caldas da Rainha and Nazaré are located there. In 2026, the Silver Coast is the favorite destination for middle-class American families. Why? Because you can get a modern T3 for 350,000 euros, something unthinkable in Cascais or Lisbon. You are an hour from Lisbon Airport, you have world-class surf beaches, and a vibrant community of local arts and markets. This is the area with the highest potential for medium-term appreciation. Many people are fleeing Lisbon's prices and landing here. The pro tip: Caldas da Rainha has a central hospital and an urban life that doesn't die in the winter, unlike many coastal villages that become ghost towns in January. If you are torn between the Algarve and the Silver Coast, your tax profile and healthcare budget will decide for you. In 2026, municipal taxes, IMI, vary wildly. If you want us to analyze your retirement or investment numbers to see which of these regions clicks with your wallet, book a clarity call with us. We will give you the answer your real estate agent is likely omitting. Finally, the island of Madeira. In 2026, Madeira has consolidated itself as the hub for digital nomads and tech investors. Funchal, the capital of the island, is the sixth largest city in Portugal and offers an infrastructure that many don't expect from an island. Although the NHR regime has changed, Madeira maintains specific incentives for international service companies through the International Business Center, CINM. The subtropical climate is another great reason to visit, live, or invest in Madeira. For those with respiratory issues or arthritis, Madeira is the best place in Portugal in 2026. So, island fever is real. You are a 90-minute flight from Lisbon. If you need to go back and forth frequently to the mainland, flight costs and dependence on the weather, winds at the airport, can be an issue. Regardless of where you choose, there's one thing that unites all these places in 2026: safety. Portugal remains the fourth or fifth safest country in the world. However, the danger here is administrative. In all these cities, IMA, the Agency for Integration, Migration, and Asylum, is becoming more rigorous. In 2026, it is no longer enough to just have the money. You have to prove integration. If you buy a house in an isolated village in Alentejo, which some videos suggest is cheap, know that you might be 2 hours away from the nearest immigration office or a hospital with pediatric emergencies. The choice of the best place in 2026 must be made based on proximity to essential services. Isolation in Portugal is romantic in vlogs, but it is logistically punishing in real life. As we dive deeper into these regions, we have to talk about the invisible tax of 2026. This isn't a tax you pay to the government, it's the cost of time. In Lisbon, you pay it in traffic. In the Algarve, you pay it waiting for a plumber during the high season. In the north, you pay it in the time it takes to dry your laundry. Immigrants often struggle with the tomorrow culture. In 2026, even with digital government initiatives, things move at a human pace. If you are moving to Braga to start a tech company, you might find that while the talent is world-class, the pace of getting a commercial electricity connection is traditional. This is why we tell our clients, do not move your entire life until you have visited your specific neighborhood in the off-season. Lisbon in July is not Lisbon in January. The Algarve in August is a different planet compared to the Algarve in November. Most people who regret their move didn't pick the wrong country. They picked the wrong season to do their research. I want to give a final warning about investing. In 2026, there is a lot of old stock on the market. These are houses that look beautiful in photos but have zero energy efficiency. Portugal has new EU-driven rules about energy ratings for rentals. If you buy a bargain in Centro or the Alentejo that has a G energy rating, you might be legally barred from renting it out until you spend 50,000 euros on renovations. This is the trap of 2026. Always check the Certificado Energético before you even think about making an offer. Portugal in 2026 is still one of the best decisions you can make for your quality of life. But the cheap real estate party is over. Today, the success of your move depends on a surgical choice of location that aligns with your stage of life. If you had to choose today, would you prefer the rainy, high-tech vibration of Braga or the sunny but quiet peace of Tavira? Let me know in the comments. I want to know what weighs more for you, the sun or the convenience. Don't forget to download our relocation checklist. It's your map to avoid getting lost in the bureaucracy of each of these regions. And if you need a deep dive analysis, our team is available for a clarity call. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments or send me an email. And if this video was helpful, you should watch this one over here. This is a must watch. Click now and I'll see you in there. Ciao.